time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with a Saturday morning sun popped on the floor of the big bowl of sugar cereal and watch our favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
Boo! I think I'm a big scary monster, but I don't know if it's still Halloween or if it's Thanksgiving. I'm Chris.
This morning, for the last episode of our 2021 OCTOONBER celebration, we watched Scary Godmother, Halloween Spooktakular.
Suggested to us by SaraGeorgeMusic via Twitch. Thank you, Sarah.
Hey man, I just want to say, I went in with a lot of reservations about this, and I came out a fan.
Oh, there you go. Sarah, good job. Good job picking this.
I'm going to thank Sarah personally, digitally, through chat. Is that personal?
I mean, it's as personal as we can be now.
True.
Yeah, without possibly contaminating her.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to tell her COVID personally, which is across the internet.
There you go.
So Scary Godmother aired in 2003, based on the Scary Godmother comics by Jill Thompson, written by Heath Corson and Jill Thompson, directed by Ezekiel Norton, produced by Mainframe Entertainment Studios. This was a movie, so it just exists.
I like that. That's a good follow-up right there. It just exists.
Normally I would say like it aired on this network, but it's there.
It just showed up.
It's in the world.
Yeah.
It was on Cartoon Network a lot when it first came out.
Oh, there you go.
When it first came out, and like in the following years, like Cartoon Network kind of made it a tradition to air it and its sequel for quite a few years afterwards.
Oh, got it.
Scary Godmother is a whimsical, all-ages story that follows the first trick-or-treating adventure of Hannah Marie, a young girl whose rotten older cousin is babysitting her one dark Halloween. Unhappy to be saddled with Hannah, her cousin cocks up a scheme to frighten her. But his scheme backfires when Hannah gets help from the Scary Godmother.
I can relate. Everyone had that one just piece of crap older cousin. I sure did.
Yeah.
Man, that guy sucked.
You know what? I love my older cousin now, but I have a traumatic memory of... I don't have a lot of childhood memories, but this is one of them because it was traumatic, where he was playing this game of like cops and robbers basically with his friends, and he drugged me into it as a robber and then put me in these apartment complex. He put me like under the stairs, and that was jail, and he just left me there. And I remember crying because I didn't think that, I could just walk out because he told me I had to stay there. So I just stayed there in jail, and I cried until he came and got me and told me that I could be free from prison. That is a traumatic memory of mine.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that my cousin gave me not only my first black eye, but all throw like 2 through 7. So.
Dang, okay. That's a little more violent. Yeah.
A little bit.
So who are some of the actors who played in this movie?
So the voice of Hannah Marie, as we were just talking about, was voiced by Britt McKillop, who has not really escaped the world of soft horror or even horror in general. Although she's been in other cartoons like My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Bratz, Trolls, and Baby Looney Tunes as the voice of Lola Bunny. She's voiced the character of Sabrina Spellman in Sabrina's Secret Life, Esme in Super Monsters, and she played Reggie in the TV series Dead Like Me, which is a great series if you've never seen it, and also appeared in the film Trick or Treat. Not Trick or Treat, Trick or Treat.
Really? That's awesome.
Directed by a friend of the network, Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Scary Godmother / Ruby was voiced by Tabitha St. Germain, who's been in all of those cartoons that you remember very fondly from the 90s, things like Super Mario Brothers, Zelda, Sonic, multiple Sonics, Dragon Ball Z. She also voices Rarity in pretty much anything My Little Pony, whether it's cartoons, movies, video games, anything. The characters of Scully and Count Max both were voiced by Scott McNeil, who comes up a lot on our show. He's in shows like Mummies Alive, Beast Wars, as characters like Waspinator, Rat Trap, Dinobot, all those really memorable characters and those very distinct voices. He was in X-Men Evolution as Wolverine. He's in lots of anime series, like almost any Gundam series. He's going to be there somewhere. He's in Full Metal Alchemist. He's in Inuyasha. The list would go on if I just keep going. The voices of Harry and Bugaboo are both done by Gary Chalk, also a huge name from 80s and 90s cartoons and continues to this day, having been involved in series like He-Man and especially Transformers and Beast Wars as Optimus Prime or Optimus Primal. If you are hearing Optimus Prime's voice and it's not Peter Cullen, you're listening to Gary Chalk. The voice of Orson was done by Adam Pospisil. The voice of Daryl by Noel Callahan. Voice of Jimmy by Alex Dodek, which is definitely going to be a name of a Pokemon eventually. The voice of Katie by Britt Irvin, who has been in Bratz, Packages from Planet X, and was the voice of X-23 in X-Men Evolution, which was that character's very first appearance of all time. So that's kind of cool. And then finally, the voice of Bert was Danny McKinnon, who is also the voice of Max from the cartoon Dragon Tales. And that is pretty much the entire cast of this film.
Dang, that's a pretty big cast. A great cast, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of like bigger names than I thought there would be going in. Now, I did recognize a couple voices, Gary Chalk's specifically, and I had kind of pinned the Scary Godmother voice. Didn't realize that she was also Ruby. But yeah, I was kind of surprised that Scott McNeil was in there too, because the voices he did, I was like, wow, I never would have guessed that.
I think because of the budget of it, they had utilized a lot of actors to do multiple voices, but you wouldn't be able to tell. Like, they did a very good job of doing vastly different voices for those characters.
Absolutely.
So for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Scary Godmother cereal, Scary Godmother Halloween Spooktakular was produced by Vancouver-based animation company Mainframe Entertainment, notable for other computer-animated television series such as Reboot, and also Beast Wars, I believe.
That makes some sense.
Also, Scary Godmother Halloween Spooktakular is based on a stage production of the first Scary Godmother book done by Thompson and Runemuck Productions that ran at a Chicago community theater in 2001. So this is based on the stage production based on the original book.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So this is like a nesting doll of a story, basically.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Which I think is why, especially characters like Skelly were so theatrical in that way.
That makes sense.
This special features longer shots than most other animated films, each lasting between 15 and 45 seconds, a decision by director Zeke Norton to emphasize the dialogue's humor he noticed in the stage show. So again, dragged from the stage show, it's like when people are kind of just sitting there, like lingering on a joke or something.
Yeah.
That's something that he carried over into the special or into the movie from the stage show.
You know, I kind of thought about that a little bit, and I think it really worked for the humor of this.
I think so in some cases, yeah.
Yeah.
In other cases, like there was some awkwardness, but I think that was due more to the animation style than the jokes themselves.
That I would agree with.
While the only Scary Godmother media Mainframe has released is two specials, Halloween Spooktakular and The Revenge of Jimmy from 2005, it was announced in October 2020 that a television series was still in the works. So I guess as of last year, there's a television series coming at some point, hopefully.
Oh my goodness.
Also in 2020, the special resurged in popularity with the prevalence of TikTok videos of people syncing to the show's audio and dressing up as characters from the special. I'm not on TikTok at all, so I wouldn't be able to confirm this.
No wonder all the youngins were telling us to do this one. No wonder.
I kind of get it now. Like, to me, it was kind of something that was from the past, but I guess it had this resurgence that us not being on TikTok wouldn't have even noticed.
Well, I would love to say that I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on there.
Oh.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Peer pressure.
I have nothing against it. I just don't have time for it, honestly.
You know, I spend my time on there instead of other social media. I don't use other stuff pretty much at all. I just go on there and look for funny videos, and that's it.
I'm an Instagram boy through and through.
Yeah, I barely even use my Instagram anymore. Barely even gramming.
So we had both heard of this, yes, but had you ever seen it aside from maybe the comics or something?
Oh, not at all, man. I really had only known about it, like, mainly just because everybody talking about it. Once it got suggested to us, we had a lot of people in our Discord and in our Twitch streams in the audience talking about this and anticipating us reviewing it. And it was just kind of like blowing me away that this was such like a big deal for so many people. when I knew so little about it.
And really like vehemently defending it from our, I guess, from our opinions based on just the animation alone.
Yeah.
Because we've come into movies before, like Adventures of Panda Warrior, where they've looked bad and been bad.
Yes.
And we were worried that was what this one was going to be.
Absolutely.
But the audience we have, the people who are talking to us about it, really were defending it and saying give it a chance. And so we have.
I say, and before we get into discussing that chance, just because Halloween is over for the year doesn't mean that you can't still trick or treat. Do it now on social media by sharing this episode and tagging a friend so they get an extra special Halloween treat as we move into November. Or trick them by tagging them and saying something like, "This is incredibly important. You need to hear this if you value our friendship." I mean, either works. Just hit that share button on your favorite podcatcher and get to it.
So I guess let's just jump into the movie, start talking about it.
Yeah.
Generally, as a synopsis, a brief synopsis of it. So that girl, Hannah, she is like the youngest of this group of friends. And essentially her cousin Jimmy is the one who basically doesn't want to bring her along. So his idea is to get her so scared she wants to run home. And then he and his friends can do their own thing as the teenagers that they are. I think they're teenagers, maybe younger. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I would say probably younger. My guess would be...
Like middle schoolers, you think?
Yeah, I would have guessed 11, like around that age.
Okay.
Just a little over
Possible.
10. With her being probably like, maybe 6.
Yeah. And the movie, I guess, really kicks off, though, with her being stuck inside this haunted house. Well, this house that's called the Spook House that they push her in and tell her basically monsters are out looking for candy, or what you have to do is bring candy down to the basement of this house to feed the monsters, or else they will come out and start eating children. So That's kind of like, this is a kid's movie technically, but it's kind of like a dark premise to it where there's a lot of talk of monsters and monsters eating kids.
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it?
Well, apparently not.
Oh, dang. You know what? My dang cousin. I'm telling you, man.
Okay. So let's talk about the characters real quick, the human characters. So you've got Daryl,
Yes.
who's dressed as a piece of candy. You've got Katie dressed as a cat. You've got Bert dressed as a baseball player in an SUV.
Which is the weirdest choice, but he was annoying yet kind of funny at the same time, just because of how absurd he was the whole time.
He had his moments, definitely.
Yes.
And then you've got Jimmy dressed as a devil. And I think design-wise, I liked Jimmy's character the best as far as these human kids go.
Yeah.
His devil costume was pretty cool. And when he first jumped onto the tombstone, when he was introduced, I thought that was a really well-shot scene.
That part did look cool for what it's worth. The one thing that's not cool about all of them is their eyes. Their eyes are real gross. It's almost like I don't know how to describe it, because we do learn later that all of these characters have regular eyeballs. Like they have whites to their eyes, but it's like they don't have eyelids. They've just got little holes poked into like the skin where you can only see the pupils for most of the time, unless they get real scared.
Yeah, except for Hannah,
who's
who
very
has
normal.
big anime eyes.
Yeah. It was an interesting choice, is what I'm going to say. It was a very interesting choice.
Okay, so to put it in, like, I guess current terms, it would be like if you're watching My Hero Academia, then the Mirio kid, that blonde kid, has the same kind of eyes, just these little black dots. But those in and of themselves are fine, but when they're done in CG, it's weird because like their whole like eye cavities like react instead of just those little black eyes, and that was making it kind of funky.
Yeah, it disturbed me a little bit. To say the least. Hannah's dressed as like a fairy princess, and she goes into the spook house, and then they like hold the door shut so she can't get out. That's basically the plan, is that they'll get her in there, and then they're making like shadow puppets like kind of through the windows or whatever to make it really scary for her, and like you said, to freak her out so she'll want to leave and everything. She starts crying, and then Scary Godmother, who's basically like a witch, pops up and is like trying to get her to like focus on her and stuff. And at first I thought she was like making fun of her because she starts like crying, like pretend crying next to her. But it was more of like almost like an attention commiserating kind of thing. And, just trying to get her to like pay attention to her so that she would stop crying and ask her why she's crying. It was kind of cool. Like, I really enjoyed that character, like Scary Godmother. I like that character a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, she's very eccentric, almost to the point of like Miss Frizzle.
Yeah.
If you think Magic School Bus. She reminded me a lot of that. What I really appreciated about her was how positive she was, I guess. I didn't know what direction this movie or this character was going to go, but I really liked that it chose that direction and showed kind of the brighter side or the funner aspect of like spooky themed things.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's actually designed pretty much directly after the creator, Jill Thompson. Like she looks almost exactly like Jill. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and basically she's like kind of just talking to her and asking why she's crying and stuff. I mean, the Scary Godmother asking Hannah, and she's talking about like, there's monsters and she's scared. But the Scary Godmother's like, hey, monsters are some of my best friends. Like, I'm going to take you over to my place, which, you probably shouldn't. If you're crying somewhere and a stranger walks up to you and is like, hey, come to my place, it's probably not the move to go with. But in this case, it's okay. If you're in a haunted house, I guess it's fine.
Yeah. It's better than your current predicament, I guess.
Yeah. It takes her to a realm called, what was it called? Fright Side.
Fright Side. Okay. It sounded weird. You know what? I wrote, when she first said it, I wrote Front Side, but what she said was Fright Side because that's what they kept saying after that. Okay. The first time she said it, I didn't hear Fright Side and I was really confused. I legit thought she said Front Side. That was like some of the times Bert, the character, was talking, like some of his dialogue was really like jarbled. So I think they just got like one or two takes and then maybe got some bad audio from it. Yeah, the one like his very first line, like you couldn't tell what he said. Yeah. I was just like, what is this? It was like window. Yeah. Yeah. I thought like the audio got distorted or something. But I think it's maybe just, I think you're right. They were just like, well, we just got to work with what we got. So, but the way there was really cool. They went through these like big creepy clouds that were like jack-o'-lantern clouds. Yeah, that was cool. And here's what I thought was interesting. Like this movie looks like garbage, but like when you get to Fright Side, that place looked cool because they used a different, not on the characters, but on the like backgrounds, they used a different animation style. And that looked awesome. And I wish they had done the whole thing to look like that instead. That would have been great. Yeah, I did like the graveyard as a background because of the way it was kind of cell shaded. I guess the bad CG stood out less there because of the thick borders they had around everything. So it looked very watercolory. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like when they get inside of Scary Godmother's house, it looked so good. Like that art was so awesome. And I'm guessing that was like looked a lot more like the books or the comics or whatever. And I appreciated that. Like I think those designs were great. The colors were great. Everything about that looked good. But it just, oh man, I really wish the characters had been done the same way. I know. Well, the first other character we meet after she brings Hannah to the Fright Side and to her house is Scully, who is one of her broommates, BROOM mates. Of course, because this movie is so full of puns, but they're fun. They're fun. You gotta have puns. Yeah. Scully Pettibone, who is this skeleton in the closet in, I guess, every sense of the word. They play with that. That's very true, honestly. He's very theatrical. He's very outgoing. And he's just a fun character. I would not have guessed Scott McNeil did that voice. No, not at all. He usually plays he usually does those real raspy voices. Yeah. So this was totally out of left field for him to do. And I loved it. He was very sing-songy and goofy. And I don't know, it just played that real effeminate kind of character really well. Like kind of like that Snagglepuss type sounding character. Yeah. For those classic
animation buffs, like a very, very that sort of archetype. And it was really cool.
His whole thing is to be the skeleton in the closet. And he's even like asked by Hannah, he's like, does everyone have a skeleton in their closet? And he's just like, almost everyone, little miss. Like his responses are great too. I think like there's a lot of jokes that will probably go over kids' heads, but they're still fun just by the way they're delivered.
We also get Harry the werewolf who shows up. And I love this character because he just, I was just thinking about it after a while and I'm like, oh man, like after thinking about it for so long, I'm like, this is me at the party. Like I'm just there for the food. Like I don't really care to talk to everybody. I just want to eat the food.
You're there for the food and you just want to talk about comic books. That's Harry's character.
Exactly. That's basically what he's doing. He comes in there, he's got a comic book in his hand. He's talking about it because he mistakes Hannah for being this girl from the comic. And he just wants to eat all the food, which like the others are kind of like guilting him, getting mad because apparently he ate the entire buffet last year.
Oh, yes, buffet.
But he's like a werewolf dude, like a fat werewolf guy wearing like a Hawaiian shirt, which is great.
Yeah.
And his voice is really funny too. He's very like I don't know. He just sounds very sophisticated, even though he's a big goofball.
Yeah. Reminded me a little bit of like comic book guy from The Simpsons. Not so much in the way that he spoke, but in that he holds himself in very high regard as far as his opinions go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The next group that comes in is the vampire family, Count Max, Ruby, and Orson. Count Max I really loved because, you know, he's designed to look like Count Orlok from Nosferatu. And Count Orlok is played by Max Schreck, so it's like Count Max. It's a great nod to that. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I was thinking because I was like, yeah, I mean, obviously he's modeled after like Nosferatu and stuff. I didn't think about the Max part. But like I was trying to wonder like if Ruby or Orson were like any kind of nods to anything, but I couldn't think of anything. But
I was wondering about Ruby. I think Ruby is just a good vampire name.
It is.
I don't know that there's any other vampires, at least in popular culture that I know of, named Ruby, but there should be.
I did like the gag though that when they're standing out there for a while and they're all kind of talking and it kind of goes to that awkwardness where like the vampire family's still just standing outside the door because the scary godmother forgot to actually invite them to come through. Like because they're vampires, they can't just walk in. And I thought that was pretty funny.
That was good. And I like the way that they were all designed too, especially Orson. I thought he had a really cool design. Yeah, he looked really cool. They had a lot of good I feel like a lot of the best jokes revolved around the vampires too. Like I think it was when Count Max, he asked for a Bloody Mary, but hold the Mary. I thought that was pretty good. Bugaboo shows up next. He's this big furry monster with lots of eyeballs. And like when he first shows up, well, Hannah keeps answering the door along with Scary Godmother every time someone shows up. And when they answered the door this time, like Hannah screams, but then Bugaboo screams, and they're just screaming back and forth at each other, both scared. And I thought that was kind of funny. So, yeah, Hannah gets most scared by Bugaboo because he looks like the typical monster that she thinks of when she thinks of monsters.
Yes.
So she tries to use her flashlight on him, which is what her father had told her will scare off monsters, is to use light on them. He gets kind of upset, I guess, in such a way where he's like, you know, I should just go. And that's where he and Hannah sort of have a moment where it's like, no, like, it's okay. And so like they have their moment there. And that's when Hannah really sort of gets over her fear of monsters because even him being the scariest looking one is really friendly. And he, what she says is like, he's big and scary, but not mean.
Yeah.
And so now she understands that monsters aren't mean. And that's when they start partying and they go through that whole like dance montage.
Yeah. He was kind of talking about how like, you know, just because they're scary, like they don't eat kids and stuff like that. It's almost like a Monsters Inc. sort of thing. Like it's just his job.
Yeah.
And I think they even said like, I like too that they made a distinction that he is a under the bed monster and not a closet monster, and flashlights only work on closet monsters or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
But he's like just trying to make her feel better because it doesn't work on any monsters. He's like, oh no, it's because I'm an under the bed monster.
Yeah. Through the entire dance, Harry's asleep because he was annoying everybody. And so Count Max put him to sleep, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like the kids are still wondering where the heck Hannah is because they're just like, why has she not come out yet? I just think it's funny that they put her in there so that she would get scared, run out, go home so they could have the night to do what they want. Instead, they're wasting their entire night like outside of the scary, the spook house or whatever, not doing any trick-or-treating or anything because they're just like, they basically lost her and they're waiting for her to come out.
Yeah. And this is where like everybody else is like, let's just go in and get her. And Jamie's like, no, like I'm the leader. And I say we just wait for her to come out scared. And they go through this whole thing where they start voting as who should be a leader. Everyone votes for themselves, of course. They start demanding a recount.
Yes.
Yeah, over.
They're definitely the United States. So.
Yeah. And then they do rock, paper, scissors. Jimmy ends up winning that, so they end up waiting longer, and that cuts us back into the monster party.
They're running out of food. I mean, because, Harry's there. So they decide to order pizza, and I thought it was kind of funny, though, where, like, one of the first things Harry said is, like, who wants garlic? And, like, Count Max just gets so mad. Like, he grabs him and he looks like he's about to murder that werewolf. Like, he's furious.
Yeah.
And I thought I was like, dang.
we're all allergic to it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty good.
That's also where Count's talking about how, Ruby, his wife, is like, what's wrong? You're usually the dead of the party. And then he's just like, I feel out of touch. And then I feel self-conscious.
Yes.
That was just fun, spending those moments with them.
I liked that too. I liked the whole pizza thing and that whole interaction because that reminded me of like this dumb character that you and I and Rochelle made up while we were streaming on Twitch once about that like vampire that was delivering pizzas to get himself through college or whatever, like because he had student loan debt. And like about how he would get so upset every time he was delivering pizza with like garlic on it. And like, we just went on for like a half hour about like with this character and it's so stupid.
Oh, of course.
But I mean, that's what we do. Yeah. They ordered, Harry ordered $200 worth of pizza.
Yeah. He ordered 12 pizzas.
Yeah.
And so the dude's like trying to get the money and he just like, or you could sign for it. And he like pulls out this contract like to sign her soul over. And she's just like, my soul's worth more than 12 pizzas.
Mine's not.
Mine's probably not either. But then they go over to Bugaboo, who I guess rolling under beds the way he does has money like inside of his fur. And so they start just pulling money out of him.
Yeah.
And yeah, they pay him off with the money that Bugaboo had on him.
And what's kind of funny is like Harry ends up not getting any of the pizza.
Oh, yeah. First, she's like, you only get one pizza, Harry, and you owe me for all this other stuff.
Yeah. And then he's left with this one pizza, but that one pizza was like specially ordered for Scully. So he's like, no, that's mine. Half ash, half green pepper.
Yeah.
So he snatches it from him. So Harry ends up with no pizza at all. That was great. Yeah, so we also get like, kind of like a come on full circle sort of thing of Hannah talking with Bugaboo again. They you just kind of hashing out like her fears and talking to him and just kind of like reassuring each other that things are cool now and, why she's probably afraid of things and what she was doing like when she got put in the house and all that stuff. And mentions her cousin Jimmy. And Bugaboo's like, oh, Jimmy's on my route every other Thursday.
Yeah.
So they're just like, now that everybody's like friends with Hannah, they're like, we're going to teach those kids a lesson.
Yeah.
So they all go to the spook house and go to like lure the kids in so they can all scare the kids. And that part was super fun. Until the gross eyes come out of those kids.
I think some of the best jokes were here too.
Yes.
Especially with like the flashlight deaths like that.
Oh my God, those
had me
are great.
laughing a lot. Yeah. So first, the kids go in to get Hannah, basically, finally, and they can't find her. Yeah, so Orson comes out, and they're just like, he tells them he's a vampire, and they're just like, oh, it's just a kid. Well, Jimmy's convinced he's just a kid dressed up as a vampire, just some dorky kid who dared to go inside Spook House. And he's like, I'm going to tell my mom and dad. Then that's when the Count and Ruby come out. That's when they start chasing them. And they run into this room where there's this lamp, or what looks like a lamp. They start pulling on Skelly's arm because it's Skelly dressed up as a lamp. And he's just like, click, click, click. And he takes the lampshade off. They sees a skeleton and then start singing a song about serving 4 kids on a plate.
Yeah, but then they like clap. They're just like, oh, nice.
Yeah, it was well done.
Like he's really good.
Harry like literally jumps onto Daryl, the kid wearing the candy costume, and starts trying to eat him because he's hungry. So I think like he really was in danger.
Yeah, Harry didn't really care to be there. He was just kind of like, because he's so hungry. So he was really phoning it in, but until he saw the kid dressed as Candy. And then he was just like, oh, and then jumps on and is literally trying to eat this child.
Yeah. Bugaboo comes out, and then that's when Hannah comes out to save them with the flashlight. And this is great. Just all of their reactions to her and the flashlight are awesome. He pretends he gets scared off. That's when everybody starts relying on Hannah with the flashlight to save them. Skelly gets taken out by the flashlight. The vampires act scared of it. Then Scary Godwitch pretends she's melting.
Harry's is the best. He goes on
Harry's is the last one. He's really milking it.
He just does like, he goes on with like a Shakespearean length like monologue of dying from this light. And it works. Scares all the kids really bad. And we know that too because they all run out except for Hannah, who, you know, sticks around because she's got to say bye to her friends. But like when Jimmy comes back, he's just like, you know, would you hold my hand? And we're like, haha, gotcha.
And then to close it out, Scary Godmother gives Hannah a key to the fright side that she can put inside any door and open a portal to the fright side to visit whenever she wants.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we send our inner kids to the fright side to help plan the next spooky party and maybe see if they can talk Orson into turning them into little bloodsuckers. Then see what they thought of the Scary Godmother Halloween Spooktakular.
This movie looked like the bottom of the dollar bin in a Walmart, but it was actually really fun. There's all these different monsters having a big old Halloween party, plus 12 pizzas? Yes, please.
I really liked how weird and fun and kind of dark this movie was, and I hope that I get to visit the Fright Side someday too. It was creepy, kooky, mysterious, and ooky. Wait, why does that sound familiar?
Oh, man. So, with all the plot and everything done, what were some of the things that you liked about this? Because you said there's a lot. You said you're a fan.
Yeah, I have become a fan, actually. I get why people like this and hold this in such high regard as like a yearly watch, basically. I don't know that it will be one for me. Maybe. I do want to check out the Revenge of Jimmy one also. And I especially want to read the comics, though. I didn't realize they were comics. I thought they were just like young adult novels or something.
I didn't realize that either. I thought they would be probably like little kid books too. Like, you know, those like 14-page little paperbacks or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But the art is so good too. Like Jill Thompson's an amazing artist and her watercolors are awesome.
Yeah, I've seen a few designs and stuff, and I do like how everything looks for sure.
As a member of like Camp Creepy myself, I am completely behind the general premise of this movie with her, Scary Godmother, helping kids become comfortable with living the spooky life. I think that's awesome. And it presents really how fun horror can be. And I think serves as a great soft intro to it for a younger audience. Instead of like watching adult horror movies like I did as a kid, this is probably a much better way to transition kids into liking scary things or just not being afraid of like spooky things during the Halloween season.
You're saying like this is a better gateway drug into the world of horror
probably,
for children.
Probably better to watch this or show them this instead of, Toxic Avenger, I would imagine.
I would agree with that. I also on top of what you said too, I also really appreciated the monsters themselves, like all the characters.
Oh my God, yeah.
They were really fun. They're really funny. I especially like Scary Godmother. Like I said earlier, I love her design, despite like, the CG aspect of it, but still the design of it, her personality, it was all great. I do kind of wish we would have seen a few more classic monsters, but what we got was super fun. And I really liked especially how they treated the idea of like having a skeleton there, that it's not just like a skeleton, that there's like, somewhat of a lore story to it, like of a skeleton in a closet being a thing. And I was just like, man, that's cool. I love that idea.
Yeah, these characters all had like really distinct personalities too. And it's almost probably better they didn't bring in more characters in this case, because you really got to spend more time with the few that we did get in such a way that you got to really understand them and their personalities.
I just would have loved to have seen one mummy in the background, just like wiping down counters using their rap or something.
Yeah, I think maybe they could have added some like fill-in characters in the backgrounds maybe.
Just a few background things. It'd be fun.
Yeah. Also, like I was saying earlier with the backgrounds, I do want to give credit to the graveyard one specifically and, the Fright side as a whole, because even with like the aged CG animation that they were using, I think that translating that watercolor aesthetic into or from the comics onto the tombstones and like having those defined borders really worked for me in that situation. It almost reminded me of when we were playing Costume Quest the other day, like that art style.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can totally see that now that you said it. I agree with you. So what about dislikes? I mean, I think the big glaring one, and the only one that I honestly have, is the animation itself is pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes without saying that like the late 90s, early 2000s CG animation has not aged well.
No.
And you can really see that in this film, especially with some of the characters. Like there were a lot of times where Harry's mouth, like his lips would be bothering me because they just stood out so much. And like his fur was animated kind of funky. It's just like, it was a weird choice to make. I think this would have been much better as a 2D animated thing. But that was the biggest hurdle that I had to overcome before I could really start enjoying the film, was getting over the fact that it looked like this.
Yeah. Once you get in, especially like, I feel like once you get to Scary Godmother's house, you can kind of start forgetting about what some of the stuff looks like. What pulled me back out of it was when we got to the end and the older kids got scared, and it went from, it's the eyes, man. I've talked about it. It went from those black spots the whole time to now these big bulbous eyes that are they're pointed in every freaking direction, and sticking out of their heads. And it's so gross and not in a fun way. It just looks awful when they did that. And it's not just that like the CG of it was bad. It was such a weird choice to go that route with it.
Yeah. And then like in that same scene, one of the kids' uvulas like got a mouth that started screaming. Like it zoomed in on that. Like it was just, that was just a weird scene as a whole.
Yes.
I don't know how like closely that translates from the comics, but I bet it looked much better in the comics.
I agree. It had to.
The only other thing I would say, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, is that some of the scenes that were deliberately like lengthened longer than necessary, sometimes just to sit with the joke for a minute, like didn't really need it. Because and I think, like, don't get me wrong, I understand why some scenes do need to linger, but I don't think that technique works very well with like this early CG. So it just made those shots feel more awkward and kind of made the bad animation more noticeable than it did like make the scene more effective or make the joke more effective, you know?
I think the times that it did land was when you could see really good expression on the faces of other characters. I think a good example of when it did work, for me at least, was towards the end when Harry's doing his big Shakespearean death scene kind of thing. And it pans over to Scary Godmother, who is like on the ground and kind of like has that look like, come on, hurry up. But and she has a face that's very expressive, where like we can get it and we get the intention and the tone. But there are other characters whose faces don't have as much expression as that. So if it would have been somebody else, that's one of those cases where the animation style would have limited that. And I
Mhm.
think the joke would have fallen flat.
Yeah, I think another spot that it did work was when you were talking about earlier with the vampires being invited in. Like that was a
Yes.
long scene and it panned over and then back to the vampires and their expressions weren't changing, but that almost like helped the joke because it's like, all right, we're just kind of waiting to be invited in.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that, it matched their personalities, though, being a little bit deadpan right there. And they're just kind of staring right at you, not moving at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that wasn't a big complaint. It was just like what I was noticing aside from just the animation.
Sure.
But I think that was probably also because of the animation. So I think it just kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. So what would you give this overall?
Well, it looks bad. Really bad, but it does grow on you. And I mean, the story lends for a pretty good time. And I can definitely see why this is so nostalgic for those that saw this, as a kid or around the time it came out or are familiar with the stories, the comics. And while it's not one that I'm personally going to go back to each year, if I had a kid or when I do have a kid, then I will go back to it. I would want them to watch it and I would watch it with them. And I think it would be a really, really fun time. So I gave Scary Godmother 4 bowls of Bugaboo Berry cereal out of 5.
Yeah, overall, I'd give Scary Godmother Halloween Spooktakular 4.5 big bowls of Fright Side Flake cereal out of 5. And I do, like I said, absolutely plan on hunting down those comics right after we finish this episode. I know there's an omnibus of it, but it's not on Amazon anymore, or it's like not in stock or something. So I just have to hunt it down because I do want this in my collection and I will check out the other movie eventually.
I wonder if they keep do they keep the same animation style? I bet they do.
Probably, hopefully it's a little bit better, but it's again a small hurdle to jump over for the good jokes and the fun characters.
Hopefully they don't pull a Howard Lovecraft and like get worse or just, maintain status quo because they don't feel like learning.
No, you know what though? Like the Howard Lovecraft movies just weren't as enjoyable as this was. So this gets a big pass because it was a fun movie, even though the animation was not great.
Oh, I 100% agree with you there. Before we go, we've got a couple 5-star reviews to read here over on Apple Podcasts. So thank you everyone who have left us a 5-star review. This one comes from Gameplay23. 5 huge bowls of podcast cereals. I am actually a kid. Oh, look, we found one.
Awesome.
But I found this podcast and was curious, and I have not regretted it. I've started watching the shows you do. However, I had one gripe. Uh-oh,
no.
Joseph. It's that they stopped doing an episode a week and now do an episode every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's a fine gripe.
That's understandable.
Well, it's an understandable gripe. They give us a suggestion, which is Amazing World of Gumball, which is what everybody suggests.
Yeah.
So I definitely will. I will add it. Thank you guys for reading this. Oh, they signed it. Any pizza for Prez. I would elect a pizza for president. Oh, snap. Then they say, P.S. I may know who Kenneth Chisholm is. Dun, dun, dun.
What if this is like Kenneth Chisholm's relative, like his nephew or something, or niece?
Tiny Chisholm.
Lil Chisholm.
Lil Chisholm.
Also, thank you, Sarah, for suggesting this.
Yes.
It sounds like we both were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I really did have a good time with it. As much as I harped on how it looked, I had a really, really good time. And I do want to check out the comics too, because like the art style I said, I mean, the CGI aside, because I didn't like that, but the actual design of everything I thought was spectacular. And I love that. And
apparently there's a moment where Scary Godmother is in an actual wrestling ring fighting against a fairy godmother.
Okay, well, that we need to see.
If for no other reason, get the comics for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And in 2 weeks, we'll be watching
A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, suggested via Twitter by Ira Sutton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're jumping straight from the hallowed ween over to the Thanksgiving, the giving of thanks.
From the hallowed ween to the Thanksgiving.
You tried to make it work, but it didn't. But good on you for trying.
It did.
Believe in
I'm going to
yourself.
take it.
Yeah, I have hopes and dreams. So
that's great, actually, because I just finished watching Great Pumpkin last weekend. So
nice.
That'll be a nice transition.
Very cool.
Once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.